Japan is one of the hardest working nations on earth. Long hours, packed commutes, intense social pressure. By every Western measure, it should be drowning in stress. And yet, Japanese people consistently report lower rates of anxiety disorder, burnout, and stress-related illness than most of the Western world. The reason is not what you think. In the West, we treat stress as something to fight. We push harder. We meditate for 10 minutes on an app. We take supplements. We optimize. And the stress remains. Because we have been treating the symptoms, not changing the mind that creates them. Japanese mental wellness does not fight stress. It dissolves the conditions that make stress inevitable. 7 philosophies. Over 1,000 years old. And they still work. The samurai faced genuine existential pressure. Not deadlines, death. Not performance reviews, battle. And yet the great samurai masters were documented as extraordinarily calm. Not because they felt no fear, but because they had built a philosophy that made fear manageable. That philosophy, refined over centuries in samurai dojos, Zen temples, and Japanese daily life, is still alive in Japan today. In the way people walk. In the way they eat. In the way they rest. Secret 1 Ma. The Japanese concept of meaningful empty space. Not emptiness as absence, but emptiness as presence. Western minds fill every gap, every commute, every meal, every moment of silence, with input. Japanese culture protects gaps. Treats silence as substance. Practice. Leave one transition in your day completely empty. No phone. No podcast. Just the space between things. That space is where your nervous system heals. Secret 2, Wabi-sabi. The Japanese aesthetic philosophy of finding beauty in imperfection, impermanence, and incompleteness. Most modern stress is perfectionism wearing a practical disguise. The unfinished email. The imperfect presentation. The gap between who you are and who you think you should be. Wabi-sabi does not fix the crack in the bowl. It fills the crack with gold and calls it more beautiful than before. The imperfection is not the problem. Your relationship with imperfection is. Secret 3, Shinrin-yoku. Forest bathing. Not hiking. Not exercise. Simply being present in the forest, walking slowly, breathing deeply, allowing the senses to receive rather than seek. Japanese research has measured what happens in the body during 20 minutes of forest bathing. Cortisol levels drop measurably, blood pressure decreases, natural killer cell activity, your immune system's front line, increases. The forest is not a metaphor. It is medicine. And the prescription is 20 minutes. Secret 4, Mano no aware. The Japanese concept of pathos of things, a gentle, bittersweet awareness that all things are transient. Cherry blossoms are celebrated in Japan not despite the fact that they last only 1 week, but because of it. This philosophy transforms how the mind relates to loss, change, and endings. Not as failures, but as the natural completion of beautiful things. Grief becomes tenderness. Change becomes acceptance. Loss becomes gratitude for what was. Secret 5, Ikigai. Your reason for being. The intersection of what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what sustains you. Research on Japanese centenarians consistently finds that those who live longest and report lowest anxiety share one characteristic. They wake up knowing why. You do not need a perfect ikigai. You need a direction. Even a small, daily reason to get out of bed creates a nervous system that faces the day rather than dreads it. Secret 6, Ofuro. The traditional Japanese hot bath ritual. Not a shower, a deliberate, unhurried immersion in hot water that the Japanese have practiced every evening for centuries. The physiology is precise. Hot water raises core body temperature. When you emerge, the temperature drop triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and repair mode, within 20 minutes. It is not a luxury. It is a biological reset button, built into a daily ritual so natural it requires no willpower at all. Secret 7. The Samurai's Memento Mori. The samurai practice of contemplating death, not morbidly, but clarifyingly. The samurai who acknowledged that today might be his last, found himself suddenly incapable of wasting it on small anxieties. The petty irritation, the social comparison, the fear of imperfection. All of it dissolves when measured against the one certain fact of a finite life. This is not darkness. This is liberation. When you remember that time is genuinely limited, the present moment becomes enough. 7 philosophies. None of them ask you to do more. All of them ask you to see differently. Ma asks you to protect silence. Wabi-sabi asks you to love the crack. Shinrin-yoku asks you to walk into trees. Mano no Aware asks you to hold things lightly. Ikigai asks you to know your why. Ofuro asks you to rest completely. And Memento Mori asks you to remember that you are alive. You do not need all 7 tonight. You need one. Choose the one that felt like recognition, not new information. That is the one your nervous system was already asking for. There is a phrase in Japanese. Nanakarobi yaoki. Fall 7 times, rise 8. It is not a motivational poster. It is a description of reality. Japanese mental resilience is not the absence of difficulty. It is the presence of a philosophy that makes difficulty bearable. The samurai who walked calmly into battle. The elder who tends her garden at 90. The student who studies in stillness before dawn. They are not different from you. They simply learned earlier that the mind that interprets the world matters infinitely more than the world itself. Save this video and share it with one person in your life who is carrying too much right now. Sometimes the most important thing we can do for someone is show them a different way of seeing. And if you want the full Japanese mental wellness series, the Ikigai morning practice, the Zen approach to difficult emotions, Japanese sleep rituals, subscribe. Ancient wisdom, modern minds, genuine peace. Nanakarobi yaoki. Rise again.